Before the world even heard of nuclear weapons, Hiroshima was just another busy Japanese city. Men, women, and children going about their lives, walking the streets and catching trams. Then came August 6, 1945. A single bomb changed everything. The world had just witnessed the first use of a nuclear weapon in war.
The weapon that destroyed Hiroshima back in 1945 had a yield of about 15 kiloton. So by today's standard, that weapon would be considered a low-yield warhead, even though it destroyed an entire city. But today, most weapons typically have yields in several hundred of kilotons.
The aftermath was total devastation, rubble, radiation, and loss. Survivors walked among ruins. Their lives and the world forever changed.
Because you have to remember that at the time, U.S. conventional bombers had been carpet bombing and firebombing Japanese cities for months and months. Hundreds of thousands of civilians had been killed. So in terms of city destruction per se, it wasn't a significant change. It was more like, here is one weapon that can do what it took many, many bombers to do before. And then, of course, as the nuclear arms race took off and other nuclear weapons, other countries started to develop nuclear weapons, we got into this insane buildup and nuclear arms race and competitions with the Soviets.
Nuclear bombs release immense energy by splitting atoms, a process called fission. Hydrogen bombs take it further, combining fission and fusion.
The countries, there are 9 countries that have these nuclear weapons. But overwhelmingly, and we're talking about almost 90%, are in the arsenals of Russia and the United States. These 2 countries are the ones that have, by far, the most nuclear weapons. And that has always been the case. So part of it is because of their experience with the Cold War, the role in the arsenals they developed at the time, the strategies, etc., etc.
But they're not alone. India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea all have nuclear weapons. None of them signed the treaty or stuck with it. Together, Russia and the US hold almost 90% of the world's nuclear arsenal. That's followed by China, Britain, France, India, Pakistan, Israel, and finally, North Korea.
You'd have to drop quite significantly before you get to the next level, and that is China, which we think is, so let me just back up here and say, so the nuclear arsenals of Russia and the United States, they include, for Russia's, in Russia's case, just over 4,000, we think something in the order of 4,300 nuclear weapons. The United States a little lower, about 3,700 nuclear weapons in their arsenal. And both of these countries also have significant numbers of retired weapons awaiting dismantlement. From that, you go down to countries like Britain and France that both have around 200 plus 250 to 300 nuclear weapons. And so then you get to India, Pakistan. They have around 170 or so nuclear warheads each. And from that, you go down to Israel, that we think maybe have some just under 100, perhaps 90 nuclear warheads. And then the lowest on the list is North Korea. We think they have something in the order of about perhaps 50 nuclear warheads.
These aren't just the crude bombs of 1945. Today's weapons are compact, highly advanced, and far more deadly.
Nuclear arsenals continue to evolve. They always do when countries modernize. They always improve them in some shape or form. Sometimes they introduce entirely new types. And so it depends on the country. It's not the same across the board. If you look at the large nuclear weapon states, the sort of modern nuclear weapon states, if you will, Russia, the United States, and to some extent Britain and France, they have developed nuclear weapons that are, very advanced, very compact, very capable. Delivery systems also that can reach across the world. They have, especially the United States and Russia, they have a wide range of arsenal of weapons that are designed for different purposes.
One major concern today is Iran. It enriches uranium close to weapons grade. Iran insists it's for peaceful purposes, protected under the same treaty.
They've detected signs that scientists and engineers in the Iranian system have started examining options for how they could speed up development of nuclear weapon if the Iranian leadership decided that they should go for a nuclear weapon. At the same time, of course, Trump is also the character that pulled the United States out of the Iran agreement back in 2018. And that was the agreement that put severe constraints on Iran's ability to produce enough material for nuclear weapons development. So, of course, after Trump pulled the United States out of that treaty, the Iranians have not surprisingly increased their inventory and how much of it is enriched to high levels.
Russia, the US, and others are modernizing their arsenals, testing missiles and upgrading bombers. Treaties are breaking down, trust is eroding, and the nuclear threat is quietly rising again.
We are in the early phases of a new Cold War, yes. There's no doubt about it. All the indicators are going in that direction. Increased antagonism, norms, agreements falling away, buildup of nuclear forces, modernization of nuclear forces, etc. Those are all the indicators that can evolve into a sort of full-scale nuclear war, no doubt about it.
As old warheads are moved and maintained, the world once again finds itself asking, will these weapons ever be used again?